Alright, so this is how to beat the Trickstars. Personally, I like to play Trickstar Candina and Lyco. There are the other ones, Lilybell and Narcus, but I don't use them at all. I use other cards like, Burial Statue, Banisher Radiance, and Fairy Archer, which is pretty fun and really useful, and it burns, which adds to the deck strategy, which is to burn your opponent. And of course I use Ties of the Brethren. I target my Lyco, and then I can bring out Banisher Radiance and Fairy Archer. I also run Marshmallow. It deals damage, plus it's a defense card just in case. But the two main targets for Ties of the Brethren is Banisher Radiance and Fairy Archer, and with that combo I could deal 1200 points of damage because I have 3 light monsters on the field. And then of course I got the Banisher Radiance, which will hurt a lot of decks that are graveyard based. And then of course I got Burial Statue of Heavens for when I use Ties of the Brethren with Candina. And I bring out other level 4 fairy type monsters of my choice. But anyway, most Trickstar players do typically just use these two, a couple other cards, or a Lilybell. It's player preference. Of course, you definitely want to play Trickstar Light Stage, Terraforming as well, so increases the consistency. Getting the field spell, which gets you the girls, because you get Candina. Candina can get you obviously the Trickstar Reincarnation Trap, or it can get you another Trickstar Light Stage, so you can play the Light Stage after you already played a Light Stage, and then get a Search, and then get like a Lyco, especially if you already have a Lyco in your hand. Then use both Lyco's ability chaining to each other to bounce the Candina to the hand, and both Lycos will still special summon, even though you're only bouncing one Candina for one of them. The other ones will still resolve and still special summon. So if you have 3 Lyco in your hand, you can summon all 3 just off of one Candina bounce and get 3 Lyco on the field, which is what you want typically, right? Because you deal more damage that way, especially when you use Trickstar Reincarnation. Some people like to use Present Card and Disturbance Strategy, which are wannabe versions of Trickstar Reincarnation, right? So it gives you more consistency, especially when you want to play two or 3 trap cards that shuffle your opponent's hands back into the deck and draw, shuffle, draw, so you can trigger the Lyco effect and then burn your opponent. And you can OTK your opponent with that strategy, of course. If you use Draw and Lockbird, so we have to see what it looks like. Draw and Lockbird. Then you can hand loop your opponent. So obviously you want a way to prevent that Draw and Lockbird hand loop. And then you want to also prevent damage. So you want a couple options for that. Pain Water, most typical option for preventing any effect damage. But it won't prevent the hand loop if your opponent hand loops you. But it will prevent the damage. So it's chainable to hand traps you can use it on either player's turn. And you got the Ghost Ogre. Now some people say that some of the trap tricks effects on trigger. To each their own. So for that time being, I'll take that out, and we'll just go with the Ash Blossom, since a lot of people like that one specifically. So it's like, alright, we'll use the Ash Blossom. It's a good card. Anytime during either player's turn, if a card will be added from the deck to the hand, special summon from the deck, or send a card from the deck to the graveyard, you can activate this card and negate that card. So obviously a lot of people want to use this against the Trickstar reincarnation. So that's good. Nothing wrong with that. Then we got Hero of Pure Light, which can, by discarding another fairy monster along with this, you can negate any trap card except counter traps, but you can negate any trap cards. That's really good because, of course, you can use it against Trickstar Reincarnation, Prison Card, Disturbance Strategy, or any other trap. But the fact that you can use it against any trap, like a Mirror Force or a Quaking Mirror Force or something, makes it really good. Especially if you put this in a fairy-based deck like Counter Fairies or Trickstars themselves. They are fairies, so you could use this, and it would definitely be good in the mirror match, among other things. We have Eco. There's a lot of other cards that can prevent damage. Eco's pretty good because it will give you a body on the field, so you're not really negging because it'll summon onto the field, and now you have something on the field you can use. And it's a 4-star, so you can go into rank 4 plays and whatnot. And then it makes it where you're not going to be taking no more damage. Your opponent will take damage instead. So it's pretty good. Let's see. Then of course, and these are mainly if you're going second. Because the thing is if you're going second, you don't have stuff on the board, so your opponent can take full advantage of playing their combos on your standby phase. So that's why you need something for going second. If you go first, well, obviously the most typical stuff you can do, you can obviously negate anything, negate summons, negate their tides, the Brethren play, their field spell plays. You can do whatever you want. You got Ultimate Prominence, Solemn Strike, like imprisonings to prevent Trickstar Candina from searching, things of that nature. Then you got Forbidden Chalice, which is good if you're going second, of course, because it'll negate the effect of one of the Lycos. If your opponent has only one Lycos, or if they have more than one, then you just want to at least negate one so you can reduce the damage by half. Plus the fact that you're playing Forbidden Chalice from the hand, that's one less card in your hand, and then you have one less Lyco result, doing her effect. So that's important. Book of Moon, pretty much the same thing. By putting a Lyco face down, you'll take less damage. Plus you have one less card in your hand. Book of Eclipse, put all the Lycos or all the monsters your opponent has face down. Let's say he has a Candina and a Lyco. You want to put them face down so you don't take damage. This is good against Magic Bullets as well. 1 day apiece, especially if you go first, 1 day apiece, and then do what you gotta do. This will save you for a turn. Or if you do go second and your opponent, deals you a decent amount, and you can be like, all right, play 1 day apiece. That way you take no more damage that turn and try to make a play that negs your opponent a lot. You gotta get rid of as much of your opponent's cards as possible, and then go from there. It's not the best card, but some decks play 1 day apiece, so it's an option. Twin Twister, of course, is decent because it helps you get rid of their field spell, which does deal you damage. Gets rid of their Crack Room Nightmare if they play, or any other thing. Maybe they have a Floodgate or something that deals damage, and you want to get rid of it. Plus, this will make you lose 2 cards from your hand, so reduce your hand size for when you're going up against the Trickstar Reincarnation combo. Then we have other options for preventing damage. If you play a Spellcaster deck, you can obviously make Performance Trapeze Magician. You never take damage if the amount is less than or equal to this card's attack. That's useful. The less damage you take, the better. So it's decent to have something that you can summon relatively easy. A rank 4. that can prevent damage. Tornado Dragon, definitely if you go first and your opponent tries to set up their little combo and then they end their turn, you can Tornado Dragon their back row. Because this is supposed to be 2 effects. You can chain it and destroys your opponent's stuff, like their light stage or their dark room of nightmare or whatever they set. Sky Blaster is good for getting rid of anything that's still on the field if you manage to survive and prevent a lot of the damage and whatnot. You need to get rid of stuff on the board. Being able to use this to bounce the Dark Room of Nightmare or the Field Spell back into their deck and then attack their Candina or their Lyco because 2,000 stronger than these. Be careful about Honest. They can't play Honest, so remember that. Rhapsody and Berserk, the deck, the Trickstar Reincarnation does have the ability to bring back Trickstars from the graveyard to the field, so you definitely want to banish it, get rid of it, so that way they can't use it later to bring these girls back from the grave. That's something to take into account. Giant Ham. It's kind of like it's decent going first. Your opponent tries to search for Candina, you can negate it. Totally awesome, definitely awesome. Let's just take whatever you want. And the main thing you want to do, since this is generic, since Trickstar Reincarnation doesn't require you to have a Trickstar to activate it. Once your opponent tries to use it, you can negate it with Totally Awesome and then steal it for yourself, and then you can use it against your opponent. So that's fun. And you can do that to anything. I mean, you can even steal your opponent's Candina and use it against them. But obviously, that's a good card. Then you got Cyber Dragon Infinity. Any deck that can make this. Obviously, you can negate the traps. And most typically, if your opponent has Lyco on the field, typically it probably was special summoned by her effect. So you can always steal it with Infinity's ability, and that is a material, and then use it to negate your opponent's stuff. Any way of negating controlling against these cards is the typical play you're gonna do, because you're not always gonna go second. Sometimes you're gonna go first. So obviously you gotta be able to have outs and strategy to prevent them from getting their combo off. Plus, with going first, of course, you get to play your whole hand, so you have nothing in your hand for your opponent to do the Trickstar Reincarnation against. So right there, inherently, you have that going for you if you go first. You don't have to worry about the combo. But if you're going second, you might have to worry about it. And then, of course, we got Blackwing Dragon. If you have a deck that can make 8-star synchros, this is a decent option to prevent damage. And then Thought Ruler, after you've taken damage, you can just make him and then gain most of that life points back. So that's something to take into account. Life gaining